Okay, good evening. I just want to talk a little bit about the debt ceiling issue today, and I'll start off by just reminding you of something. Um, here's a picture of the Federal Reserve on Constitution Avenue near the Lincoln Memorial, and only the Federal Reserve can print more money or issue a trillion-dollar coin or whatever you could think of. The government itself can't, and technically the Federal Reserve is a private company owned by bankers and in a sense partnered with the U.S. government, but the Congress itself or the government itself, the Treasury Department itself cannot issue more money. Only the Federal Reserve can. And so that's something to bear in mind as I talk right now about what's going on. As you know today, and there's a news story, the GOP-led House passed a bill to hike the debt limit, but there were strings attached. I think the vote was 217 to 215, and the politics of Kevin McCarthy and his even keeping his speakership and is involved, and there's even a concern that, for example, at least 3 of the members of the GOP House don't want to raise the debt limit under any circumstances. And so I guess it goes to the Senate, which controlled by the Democrats, might not take it up, and then there's the issue that Biden has threatened to veto it if there are strings attached. So it's obviously right now a game of chicken. There's also a concern about when the X date comes. We were thinking it might be August or September. There have been stories that recently that tax receipts on April the 18th were not quite what they were hoping. Remember, there was the tax deadline, which was April 17th or 18th this year. And there's also estimated taxes paid by people. I paid mine, which is supposed to be at the same time. There's another estimated tax day in June the 15th, and I don't know why that first one is June instead of July. It's June and September and then January, but I don't know why the second payment is early in June. But if we can hang on till June, then there's more money that comes in, and I would pay mine. It'd be good karma to do that. And it might then give them till the end of July or August. But there are stories that there was less received than they were expecting, and that we could be in trouble in early June. Might not even get to June 15th. There's also another story that I think the CBO or something is going to announce exactly how much money there is or something around May the 12th, which is about 2 weeks, I think. So that's another story. We may know a lot more then. But of course, I think you want to stop and think a little bit about what it means. If you do default on the debt ceiling, that's like an individual not paying their bills on time, not paying their credit card bills on time, and incurring more penalties. Remember that the debt ceiling is to authorize more borrowing. It's not to authorize more spending. It's to enable you to pay the bills you already have ratcheted up because you need to borrow money or else print money, which is inflationary, to pay the bills. Now, we've had a lot of demands on the economy. The COVID-19 crisis, with a lot of people out of work and a lot of businesses closed and a lot of subsistence payments that went on for 2 years. The war in Ukraine with payments to the military and the kind of threat that there is in all the politics of that and NATO and so forth. And climate change, assisting with efforts to make our whole infrastructure more climate friendly and to postpone the day of reckoning on the Earth's climate. And then even power grid stability is another issue, the solar storms and so forth, our ability to deal with that. So this is very, very serious. This is a very, very serious matter. Now, if if it turns out the politics of it does seem like it's political, but if this summer the politics of the situation gets out of control and we do default, that means some people get stiffed. And I'm still getting Social Security, and I also still get a pension from my last job, which ended at the end of 2001. But obviously there would be a risk to me, although the issue of how the Social Security Trust Fund would work, that still seems to be up in the air, as they were talking about it in 2011 and then 2013, the last times that these went on. But that would be very serious. Now, I have certain feelings about that. The greatest dangers to me at my age are, of course, a health problem. Of course, that would be true of anyone my age. And earlier in my life, the greatest dangers were, losing your job, because in various incidents that happened, a few incidents happened in the workplace from one time to another where maybe I wasn't as alert as I should have been to certain things, and where a few times my job was in jeopardy, or I felt that it was, over those 32 years. So, but getting stiffed and then basically being disappeared and having to ask others and associate with others and grovel like everybody else that you're a victim which is pretty shameful. And the idea that even though it's a very low risk, the idea that there could be some sort of black swan event happen to me is something in the back of my mind. It was something that was indirectly important earlier in my days, back in the early 60s, after the William and Mary expulsion and even the treatment at NIH. There was a way it came up even then. So this is all something I'm really quite concerned about. So I'll give you the link to the news story, but there'll be many other news stories. And there's also a couple of some very good videos on it this morning. I linked one of them on my Twitter page and everything this morning. So anyway, that's what I have to say today, but I would take the debt ceiling thing very seriously.